We know that John Schulman, who was called by the Smithsonian Magazine the thief in the rare book room, and who founded Jabberwocky at Taylor Alderdice High School poetry group with another student of Peter Balakian, Leslie Katz. That the thief in the rare book room was behind the pilfering of the letters of Gail Burston with the help of David Lucarelli of Fox Media, which were routed through Rusted Root to Yoko Ono, who didn't even have to look at them to know what they said. Schulman also had an employee who was a close associate of Adam Eisenstadt, a Zionist Israeli Pittsburgher who ghostwrites for Donald Trump. He had a friend named Parvana Turkamani who was from Iran. So Gail Burston, the author of the script, had Iranian associates, just as Mark David Chapman worked with Sean Straub and went to Beirut. These are investigations that are never opened by the salespersons working with Harper's Magazine, Louis Lapham in New York City. So there's two explanations for why Sean Lennon has put up a smoke screen for the people who he brays killed his father, allowing them to build momentum towards the Holocaust in Gaza, which his friend Mick Jagger cheered on. One explanation is simple enough. He doesn't like me because he claims I could have saved John Lennon. And as his uncle, the pedo hide, Paul McCartney, lisps, people are weird enough about that issue to side with Gail Burston and the people who actually did it. That's one explanation. That's the one that's in vogue. That's the one that his fellow travelers, the sandbaggers, the people who use COVID to put up a smoke screen for the AIDS attack, poof, abide by. There's another explanation, which is that the mystical connection between Gail Burston and Robert Fripp. She used his album In the Court of the Crimson King to make a neurological mess of me, which she admits to doing in her script. The mystical connection between Gail Burston and Gale Force, the Combine office that Fripp uses, is more than the look-alike of Gail Burston that appears on his weird Under Heavy Manners God Save the Queen record from 1979, which has Gail Burston on a look-alike of Gail Burston on the cover, an archetype of her. That's Tamo Jajong, an acquaintance of Fripp, a hustler working with these perverts, would call it. 1979 is a strange year for a pervert associated with Lennon to have someone he claims is his Lennon's killer represented on his album cover. The pervert De Jong was part of a society of human ecology who believed in archetypes as representative of the hustlers in the pornographic industry who choose the merchandise and send the others to the pornographic genocide. Gail Burston whined and whined that no one would want one like her. So this is the pornographic moralism of Nosferatu who at work in the work of King Crimson. So how do you explain that Lennon's associates were working so closely with those they claim were his killers only to provide artifice for Yoko Ono's and Iran's tag team in the fundamentalist militaries of the Leapfrog oligarchy, attacking the House of Crary, who established himself as a humanist. My father wrote Humanizing the School, was a school bus driver. You know these people don't care about attacks on school buses. How do you explain it? There is one other explanation, which I said there are two. One, to recap, is that Sean Lennon so dislikes me for his grunting criticize John Lennon. He grunts and tears the carpet. Could have saved John Lennon, which is much more important than any research into the people behind AIDS and the Gaza Holocaust. You know, Mick Jagger can't wiggle to that stuff. So that's one explanation. The other explanation is Lennon pulled a Houdini. Double Fantasy was a cross-reference built into the index system that Access Hollywood and Clint Eastwood are using to explain Nosferatu's hidden hand in the macabre dance of Putinese International. Lennon's Houdini was a revolutionary number 9. The people in the sandbaggers who lap and lap and lap at the cat's milk of Lennon revenging AIDS by advocating and building momentum for Nosferatu against Gaza, which makes no sense. I mean, George Galloway goes like this, and Owen Jones goes like that, but it makes no sense. You can replay this tape 1,000 times, and you will never get it to connect that people are that weird. But they claim it's number 9, and number 9 was found art, and Jimmy Query was jealous, and he wanted some. He wanted some, so we'll sabotage his life with Pussy Ball. And 1717 Pacific Street will say, just